Hello all you out there in YouTube land, this is Translator10 and I'm back with another action figure review. No intro this time, just getting right on to it. Here it is. My next review, as you've already probably guessed up on top, is from 1997's Batman and Robin, the Hover Attack Batman figure. The card itself is pretty boring. It's just the Batman and Robin logo, Batman and Robin brand, Kenner at the bottom, blah blah blah, bunch of figures you can collect at the bottom, blah blah blah, onto the figure. Card's boring. No personalization, although they did give us this little thing right here. It's kind of nice, I like it. Nice little artwork here. Hover Attack Batman, Hover Attack Batman, Hover Attack Batman. I do like that little action shot though. And of course here's the instructions on how to put the thing together. Back to figure. Figure itself is pretty nice. Zoom in on the face because that's really the only part that's really interesting. And when I say interesting, I mean that just looks like George Clooney to me. It does. That's the one thing that Kenner always got right. They always knew how to sculpt the faces. Even in the 1990s, they knew how to sculpt faces. And that's one thing I loved about this line. Alright, the rest of the body is pretty basic. You have your basic muscular chest, your muscular arms, muscular legs, Nice little treads on the feet. That's really just about it. And I would say the only thing about movie accurate about the suit is the torso. Because the arms, there's 3 scallops instead of 2, like on this figure. And there's no scallops on the boots on the actual movie figure. The only thing that I can figure is that these were concept designs given to Kenner from Warner Brothers Studios as they were producing the movie. And they just produced these figures given the source material that they had. Well, it turns out that the suit, if originally meant to be charcoal gray, or at least a charcoal black, I should say. Because it does look a little black on the video, but as I'm looking at it now, it looks more grayish. You know, you be the judge. As it sits, it looks as if maybe Batman was originally intended to be black, and Robin was intended to be blue, but when I get to the Robin review later on, you'll notice that the Robin figure is blue, and if you can remember everything about the merchandising, Robin had more of a blue suit, and Batman had more of a black and purple suit, or black and gray suit. So I have a feeling that those were the original intentions, and somewhere along the line they decided, no, Robin needs to have black, and Batman needs to be blue. Something like that. I don't know, there's not a lot that's been really covered when it comes to this, but that's just how I think it went. It isn't completely black. I mean, they do have a little bit of silver right here on the bat symbol and the utility belt capsules and buckle, and that just makes it look very nice. Gives it a little bit of more added detail, keeps the figure from being all the way boring. And I do love that it isn't just a flat plastic. It's very shiny. It's a glossy plastic. Glossy paint plastic, however you want to put it. And it just makes this figure shine, and very interesting considering that it is your basic Batman figure. So it does have that going for it. The paint, there's a little bit of slop, especially around the bat signal, but there really isn't that much paint. I mean, just the face, the eyes, the symbol, and the utility belt. That's it. That's all your paint. And even though it's not completely movie accurate, it's close enough so that it doesn't get that much. There's not that much to complain about. The accessories itself are just as basic as the figure. You have your battle sled with launching missile, using, friction from your finger to launch it from these clips. So if any of these clips become damaged in any way, the missile firing projectile, it just won't launch. It's nice rigid lines in here. I have no idea what these are supposed to be. These could be more or less like exhaust vents. Maybe this is an air intake, an exhaust right here. Looks like a batarang. In fact, I think as a kid I may have thrown this around like a batarang and got in trouble. It's a little spacey down at the bottom, but what do you expect? And now we have the overall back shield, which doesn't act like a shield at all, if I do say so myself. I mean, look at it. Look at this shield. It's got spaces in it. What's the point of a shield if there's spaces in it? Criminals are just going to aim for the spaces and hope they hit their target. It's very nice. It's got layered triangles. It's nothing to get too excited about, but it is nice. I especially like that little bat symbol right there. The little stylized bat symbol. And then we have the most odd weapons that Batman would ever use. These are really brutal weapons, and given the context of this film, really out of character for this Batman. This would be more or less in the Keaton films than, you know, George Clooney or the Schumacher era. But they are these sickles. They call them shields, but really they are just sickles. You can't shield yourself from something that, once again, has spaces. It's got some nice details in it. Almost like a skyscraper type for the handle. Some nice ridges here, just to keep it from being boring. Especially like these little pops here. Kind of look like pop rivets. Actually replicate the idea that this was actually assembled by Bruce Wayne. I kind of like that. Alright, put the figure together. I'm going to zoom out. So to put the figure together, first, you see these little pegs, you see little holes in the feet. You're going to want to try to get, for some reason, the feet don't want to stay. And also you have to kind of like clip them together too. I mean, you kind of have to like bend his legs, get him in there. So once again, they just designed this vehicle and then didn't really intend to design the figure to really go into this vehicle. You really have to force the figure in there. So once again, that takes value away if I was to really rate this thing. Then you take the back shield, and of course, it's got a little peg here, more of a clamp, and there's a little hole in his back. Right there. Stay. And then we take these sickle shields and we place them on the underarms like so, because they look better that way. And there you have it. That's it. There he is, all assembled. And he is a boring little mother. So all you do is just hold his arms up for a more offensive pose. And really that's it. There's nothing to this guy. Fire the missile once. Whee! Just do a little sweep across. Would have been nice if they had maybe some knee joints in here so you can crouch him down a little bit. Because that would be a more realistic, but then again, these are just children's toys and done at a very cheap budget. So I guess you really can't complain with what we got, even if the movie did stink. Toy line itself wasn't half bad. Another thing you can do with the shield is, once again, you see these little holes here. I mean, these pegs here. No, holes here. Yeah, I was right. Holes there, pegs there. And then they actually clamp this hover sled, actually clamps right there. And now we have like a really insane looking backpack. And this actually works better in my opinion than him standing on it, because it replicates that of bat wings. And really, the only thing that I find cooler than Batman with a cape is Batman with mechanized wings. And I'm actually being sincere about that. I actually do like an idea of Batman wearing mechanized wings. And that's it. That's really all I can say about this figure. I mean, for as basic as he is, he's pretty darned expensive. Being that he's the only Batman figure released that was resembled anything close to the, the source material, the movie. So people that collect Batman and Robin figures, and especially since this figure was only released for 1 year, maybe even just a few months out of that year, he's pretty tough to come by. And collectors that are willing to buy it will pay pretty much anything for it. So don't be surprised if you see this thing over $20. I was lucky to have this thing. I think I got paid like $5 for it in an online auction. And that was really before, the wave of Batman hysteria came back with The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is what's shooting the collectability of these older action figures through the roof. But if you can find one in decent condition and for the right price, I'd say go for it. I mean, especially if you're looking for a Batman from every movie line. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this one, even if it does have a very boring gimmick. If I was to rate him, and really, it's not my thing, but I'd probably give him just a 3 out of 5. If I was doing a 5 scale, it would be a 3 out of 5, just because he's pretty basic and bland. There's not much to him, and he's not really that movie accurate. He's just off color, and the little scalps may turn off some. Doesn't really turn off me, but just the fact that he is just that basic, with nothing that really appealing to me. He's a 3 out of 5. This is Trans8010, and I am signing off.